like I just met my husband. Oh my God, I'm shaking.
Welcome back to season 2 of Do You Accept This Rose? This is a cozy edition because COVID struck, so we had to make some adjustments.
So scenery has changed, but we are back.
Where did it even begin this season? Right before COVID happened, they were supposed to start filming.
Typically what happens with The Bachelorette is it airs in May. So typically it's like a May time frame, and then Bachelor airs in January. So we have, in the history of Bachelorette franchise, never had a season air in October. So now a big change too is it's on Tuesdays, because Dancing with the Stars has that time slot for Mondays. So now it's Bachelor Tuesday. So that Chris, what's that guy's name?
Chris Harrison?
No. Who's the singer?
Oh, the one that
Was on
Victoria.
Yeah. You know who he calls out, like
Chase
Rice, yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, if it's Monday, that doesn't apply anymore.
If it's Monday and it's over, you know the show you girls all come over for, and the red wine's getting lower, and your last friend's out the door.
I feel like so many
References
things need
are
to
just
change.
off.
I
think it being on Tuesday is a good reasoning as to why this season is so awful. I feel like it's just throwing the whole vibe off. Like the feng shui of the season is just not there.
I never thought I would say this, but I'm sorry, Peter. I thought you were the worst, and now I miss you.
Now we're like, we didn't realize how good it was until we're here.
We had to lose you to know how much we loved you.
It's like a Selena Gomez.
I know.
So I guess we'll just dive into it, and then you'll get the gist that like we right now, or I don't think ever, will be Team Clare.
No. But I guess we can start by like explaining who she is. You probably know better than I do. I just know that she's the oldest Bachelorette.
Yeah.
She's 39.
Yeah.
Not old.
No. Okay, so she was on, I want to say they said like 7 years ago, on Bachelor. So she was on Juan Pablo's season. She was the runner-up. He ended up sending her home instead of proposing to her. And a lot of people liked her back then because she was like, no, the way you're treating me right now, like I could never see you be the father of my children, blah, blah, blah. So people were like, oh, she's a really powerful woman in the way that she like reacted and all that kind of stuff. Then she comes on like 7, 8 more times, not actually, probably like 3 more times into the franchise. So like she's really tried. I guess you could give her, she's persistent, if anything else.
But you have to ask, if you've tried so many times,
why has nothing panned out?
Maybe you're the problem.
But yeah, so anyway, so now I think it's like after Peter's season, they didn't really see anyone on Peter's season that they were like, you would be a really, really good Bachelorette. Because if you think about it, you had Hannah Ann and Madison that were both kind of like screwed over. And they're young. I don't think they're going to want to pick a Bachelorette that's like 23. Kelly, now Kelly's with him. And then Kelsey was like really emotional.
Yeah. I think
liked
all
her.
the people, I think she could have been good.
Yeah, but I think it's just like they were kind of like, you know what, we're just going to switch things up. We're going to take someone from like the past, blast from the past, whatever.
Yeah. I think people really didn't like last season, and I think they wanted to get
like a whole new start.
Completely separate.
Yeah, I think they wanted like a completely blank slate.
And they made it even worse.
The show starts out, it was supposed to start before quarantine, and then it doesn't because of COVID, obviously. And then they let her know, like, hey, like we're getting the go-ahead to start filming. So we're gonna film in California somewhere.
Isn't it like La Quinta Inn?
Yes.
But it's like
yes.
their resort. And they rented out the whole thing, and it's like a ghost town except for her and like 30 single guys.
Yeah, so like the process was you had to get COVID tested a bunch of times. I think you were like quarantining for 2 weeks. So it was just like kind of a strict process. I guess like the guys going into it really had to be like dedicated in terms of like they really wanted to do The Bachelorette. That's kind of how it started.
Yeah, and honestly, the first episode where she meets them, I feel like there's nothing really noteworthy from it.
Yeah, it was
when she meets Dale.
Yeah. So she meets Dale.
And immediately, all he does is step out and she's already like, oh my god. I mean, he's attractive, but
like,
come on.
She's like, I think I just met my husband. Like, literally was like almost moved to tears after just seeing him.
Yes.
And they interacted for what, like 30 seconds? And she was like,
and he's really just saying like pleasantries. But I mean,
hi, I'm Dale. Nice to meet you. I'm really excited to be here, which is what every other person said. I just think it was, I don't know why it was different, but
like he seemed confident, I guess. Like he was very like,
but he didn't do anything like crazy, you know? Like the one person came out in a straitjacket. That's confusing.
Yeah, and he's still on the show.
Yeah, the other person came out and was pregnant.
And he was just like, hello. And she's like hyperventilating when he walks away, to the point where even Chris Harrison comes out and is like, hey, you got a lot of other guys to meet. You good?
Did you say you think you may have just met your husband?
Yeah. Every other guy I felt confident with.
Uh-huh.
But with Dale, everything else went dark around me. I don't even know what I just said. Did I sound okay? Did I say anything at all?
You said... Wow. You really got hit.
When you know, you know.
She meets everyone else. Awesome. Great. Then she goes inside and is like, I need to speak to Dale again. Like, immediately. Like, Dale did. Like, tunnel vision. Mm-hmm. Dale. He gets the first impression rose, which I feel like, I don't know if you knew this, but every bachelorette has given the first impression rose to the person they end up with. Or within the past, like, 4 or 5 seasons of Bachelorette.
So girls just have
that intuition.
Better intuition.
Yeah, I guess.
Than the guys. But before she gave that to Dale, she meets this guy, Blake.
Oh, yeah.
And Blake stood out to her because over quarantine, you're not supposed to talk to each other before filming. I think, you know, for obvious reasons, I guess. So you can't develop a relationship. But he reached out to her over quarantine and was just like, you all right? How you hanging in there? Or whatever, we don't know.
Yeah.
And so he broke the rules, but she was like, oh.
I really appreciate you breaking the rules. Like,
yeah.
That was really nice of you. And I'm like...
And he was like, great, I'm gonna get the first impression rose, and then he doesn't.
Uh-huh. So, like, the main takeaway from this is, like, didn't vibe with the first episode, so I feel like I'm not gonna vibe with the whole season, you know? Like, I just gotta, like, it didn't feel right. I wasn't invested. I wasn't, like, when it came around, too, you know how normally, like, when it's a new season, you're like, oh my goodness, it's a new season, like, I can't wait to put it on, I can't wait to watch, like, have a watch party, which obviously with COVID, you're not doing watch parties, but, like, normally I'm so excited, and this one I was like, well, I can tape it, you know? I just, like, didn't have that same excitement.
I know, I was shocked when I texted you, and you were like, I turned it off. I was like,
yeah, I
can't believe I'm watching The Bachelorette and Bailey's not.
I got like an hour and a half in, and I'm like, I just like do not like her. She's into herself, and I feel like from the beginning she was so tunnel vision on Dale that like I wasn't myself giving a chance to any of the other guys, because I'm like, we kind of know where this is gonna end.
Yeah, like why even get attached as a viewer? Like now I feel like it's pointless. Part of the fun is being like, ooh, I bet he wins.
Yeah, or like, oh my god, this week she's so into this guy, whereas next week, like, it might be someone else. This time it's like, oh, like it's only gonna be Dale ever.
Yeah, and you just feel bad for the other guys.
Because they don't know. I mean, we're seeing all these interviews, and we're like, oh, Claire's like really into Dale. All these other guys are like, oh, we think we have a chance, whatever.
I honestly, in the first episode, I knew nothing about her going into the season. So I didn't think she was that bad. And when she was like, oh, I really like him, I was kind of like, go for it. Defy the rules of this stupid show. Like, if you like him, then you can leave the show. I don't care. Go with it. And then the second episode, I can't even contain how much I hate this woman.
Yeah, so I guess we'll transition it into week 2 then. Also, the weird thing about this season is because it's all taking place at this one resort, it's not like you're like, oh, and this week they're going here, you know? It's like, this week they're going to this pool instead of this one, you know? Like...
So it's weird because, I mean, we can get into it later, but like when people are on a group date, the people who aren't on the date are just like chilling by the pool, but they can still see the people on the group date. It's so bizarre.
So they start off the second week, and she does a group date. Obviously, Dale is on the first group date because she couldn't wait to spend another minute with him. And this group date legitimately set chills up my spine. Legitimately. I never want to experience something like this again.
So it's based around the different love languages.
Which there's 5 love languages.
Oh my god, I thought there was 3.
So there's words of affirmation, gifts, physical touch, acts of service, and quality time.
Wow.
Look at me. Yeah, so there's 5 love languages, and the whole purpose of the date was to try to go through as many as possible and to see how you give and receive love.
Which I swear she just picked this because she wanted to hear them compliment her in the first part.
Oh, she's
when
so
they
into
did the
herself.
words of affirmation.
So into herself.
And
She's standing in this
Romeo and Juliet balcony.
So weird.
And some guys, I'll give them credit, they said very romantic things. And she's like, thank you. And then Dale comes up and is literally like, I don't know, you're pretty, I'm all in. And she's like, wow, Dale really took it home.
Oh, it was so awkward too. It's like, oh, I just met you for maybe a total of 5 minutes 2 days ago. Say every nice thing about me. And it's like, you don't know them, you know? And she was just like...
So then they do gifts, which I also found bizarre because they didn't have time to plan
You can't go anywhere. It's not like you can buy... So maybe this one guy, he was like, here's my favorite t-shirt.
I thought that was cute.
Cute, but also they're not ending up together. So does he get his favorite t-shirt back? Does she just throw it away? What's happening? And mind you, these dates are in you know how you're at a hotel, there's event halls? That's where these dates are, and I'm like, that just feels weird. The whole vibe of this season is just off.
But then they get to the touch love language.
Ew, yeah, no, I don't like
So the guys put on blindfolds one by one, and in front of all the other guys, they essentially feel each other up.
But it's a lot of it wasn't kissing. Did any of them?
No one kissed. Some of them kissed her hand.
It was let me hold your hands and feel the energy go from me to you and back.
And a little shoulder rub and
it was so odd.
And then as soon as she gets to Dale, she's like, I know exactly who this is. And she's they're giggling into each other's necks. It's disgusting.
Yeah. That's where the guys are kind of picking up, okay, Dale is definitely number 1. The last one is quality time. So that end of the date is gonna be they all do their one-on-one time. Awesome. And I'm also one of these people eating dinner. That would be my thing. I'd be getting hangry.
I feel I love that all the guys like each other more than they like Claire.
Yeah.
They are broing out.
Yeah, so it leads into they're at this quality time and she makes a toast and she's like, I'll do it with my vitamin water. Not sponsored. Here's to a great night. Can't wait. None of the guys get up because typically it's the person can't finish the toast quick enough where they're can I steal you, you know? She literally was lingering there and was so does anyone want to go chat? And who is it? Bennett? Is it Bennett?
Yeah.
It's oh, I guess we can if we have to. I'd rather hang out with the bros, but
He literally said that too. He was I was having so much fun with the guys, sorry. And she's like, what?
Yeah, so really awkward. So she ends up going to talk to him, and then in the meantime all she can do is not think about what they're talking about. She's it's just so rude that none of them wanted to talk to me. What?
He's
no one.
Yeah.
So then she goes and addresses the group, and it was I just find it really rude that I'm here and none of you guys want to talk to me. You'd rather just hang out with each other, and they're you're not wrong. You know.
I'm sitting here, I had made a toast, and then there was the longest awkward silence. And I just sat here and was embarrassed and had to almost does anybody want to spend time with me?
But then it gets weird because they all immediately, for some reason, they're I know what will make her feel better. Let's all just stand and crowd her. I'm we are so sorry.
One guy was like, I'm just gonna say something for the group, and the other guy was like, you are not allowed to say anything for the group. I will speak for myself. And I'm like, whoa.
That was Yosef who said that. But he also, I saw on Twitter that people were saying, they're like, you made the cardinal mistake of, he was like, you are crazy to think that we're not all here for you. And everyone was like, don't call her crazy.
And then she talks to Dale.
Yeah. And he says what everyone else already said, and is like, I really like you, I should have, like, pulled you aside.
Yeah.
And she's like, what a man!
She's like, you, yes.
Let's hear it for the boy.
Yeah, so just, like, overall, that date was really uncomfortable to watch.
So next is the one-on-one, right? Therapy
Yes.
session.
Oh.
So
If we thought the first date was...
So, like, picture this. The girl or guy of your dreams finally asked you out.
Oh my god.
And you're like, ooh, what are we gonna do? Something romantic, something fun. She asked you about your deepest childhood traumas. So that's what they do. This guy, Jason, who I think in the first episode, he was the one that was like, I love to laugh, we're gonna have so much fun together. And she's like, that's great.
But I'm gonna make you cry.
Write down your deepest, darkest demons and all of the mean things people have ever said about you, and then let's read them to each other.
And then she takes the dress that she wore with Juan Pablo when he was like, nah, I don't want to marry you, whatever, and like throws it in a fire. There are other things you could do, and I get like burning something as a representation that you're over it, but like clearly you're not over it.
Also, it's been 6 years in the first place. How are you not over it yet and holding on to that dress?
Literally, where are you storing this?
You know, it will be so powerful.
Me burning this dress. It
As
wasn't.
a powerful woman. Okay, so he just said all of his deepest, darkest secrets, including talking about his parents, who he was like, they shouldn't be together
Which
anymore.
also, like, his parents are gonna watch it and be like,
she's not gonna choose him. So, like, he did all of that for nothing.
I feel bad, you know? Like,
Yeah,
you know
like-
it's not gonna work out. Okay, and
So
then
that was Jason's date.
Yeah, and then we get into the third date, which is the second group date, and they're like, oh, we're gonna play some dodgeball.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like strip dodgeball. That doesn't make you a cougar, that just makes you creepy.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, they play this like strip dodgeball thing. So like every time your team lost, you had to take off like another article of clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So they had like a tank top on and shorts.
And the winner of the game gets to, like, it's like 5 versus 5, and the winner gets to, like, continue the date with her.
Which is in typical Bachelor fashion. Like, they've done that in the past. Like, the winning team will get
Yeah.
more time with her, and the losing team will have to go home. Which, it's like, what happens if you're just, like, not good at sports, you know? What happens if you're, like, artsy, and that's what's, like, cool about you, is, like, you're artsy, and you, like, paint, or you play guitar, and, like, you've never picked up a football or a dodgeball in your life, but, like, you can write a good song. Why are we now focused on the fact that, like, sports are what gets you quality time? I'm sure that if Dale was on this date and his team lost, she'd be like, everyone gets to spend time,
my gosh,
you know?
she would've.
Yeah, the Dale double standard.
Yeah.
DDD.
Oh my god. The one team loses, and they're literally down to their thongs.
And everything was, like, blurred out, you
Yeah.
know? Because it was, like, that vulgar.
Yeah, and they're, like, pretty embarrassed, so they have to walk back to their rooms, almost naked, and Blake takes it really hard. Blake, sweet Blake, quarantine Blake. A little too hard, honestly. Like, clearly he's never seen an episode of The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Because he was like, this is unfair. Not
Also,
really.
like, why would you want to spend more time with Claire?
Honestly, like,
I
go
would
hang out
literally
with
be like,
bros.
hit me! Hit me!
Yes. The other 5 go on a date with her. They're just, like, chilling, and then Blake is like, I'm gonna go and interrupt, and
Yeah.
that'll be so bold.
Which, again, like, other people have done in previous seasons.
Yeah.
It's just, like, it is looked down upon. But even though it's, like, you lost because you weren't good at sports, you know? Like,
Yeah. She ended up really appreciating it, which was surprising because she denied his kiss.
you were sucking face with everyone else. And now, like, this
Yes.
guy's, like, really wants to be here with you. And you're like, no.
So now he's, like, in bad blood with the bros. What's worse than that? There's this guy, Brandon, who was, like, pretty young anyways, so, like, get someone your age. she pulls him aside and is like, so why'd you want to come on the show? And he's like, oh, I saw it was you, and like you were very pretty, and I wanted to get to know you. And she's like,
but like, what else?
yeah, like, what else?
What else like attracted you to me? And he was like, well, you're really like gorgeous, and I just wanted to know more. But like, where are you from? And she's like, you don't know where I'm from? And he was like, well, I just met you. Like, this is a typical, like, hey, where are you from? What's your name? How old are you? Whatever. She's like, I think it's kind of rude that you didn't, like, research me. And he's like, well, I wanted it to be, like, an authentic experience where I go in person, I meet you for the first time, like, you typically would. And she's like, I don't like that.
Yeah, and she straight up is like, I'm sorry, like, you need to go.
He thought that, like, complimenting her, again, your love language. His was, like, words of affirmation. Ooh,
man.
Full circle.
I think she thinks the other guys watched all of her seasons. They did not. They're lying to you. They definitely went on Wikipedia. Anyways.
Also, what does she do for a job?
I have no idea. I thought she had kids. I was wrong about that.
I also don't think she will have kids. She's 39 right now, right?
Yeah.
By the time she probably gets married, if you go in that fashion, maybe she does it out of order, she's gonna be 40. And then, like, maybe you try to get pregnant, you might not get pregnant for a couple of years. Like, you're gonna be having a kid at what, 42? That is something you have to consider. She's 30, she's 39. All these guys are, like, young 30s. It's kind of the conversation of, like, do you see yourself having kids? And if so, what does that look like? That's a big conversation that I feel like we're not necessarily seeing as the viewer. And
That's
typically
true.
you don't have to worry about it because the guys are older, which is fine. But like for a girl, like you have a clock that's like rolling, you know?
In general, like what, like no matter who's the older one, like you kind of gotta, like some of these guys are like 25. So when you're 60, which is still like pretty young,
Yeah.
she's gonna be 75. Your lifestyles are gonna start to change.
Yeah, like she'll be slowing down, you're not so much. And I get like girls typically, or women, typically live longer than men, but like,
Oh my goodness.
like it's an age gap for you. I'm not sure. I don't even know where we started. Where did that start?
I don't know how this happened.
Oh,
Brandon.
Then he went home.
Brandon went home.
He's home.
And then it's the cocktail party?
Yeah.
Yosef, remember Yosef? He wasn't even in the dodgeball date, but he is so offended that she made them strip. And he's like...
For valid reasons.
Yeah, like, I don't like him. He seems like a hothead.
Literally
but he...
team Yosef all the way.
Really?
No.
And they're trying to make him seem like he's, like, a jerk for it, but, like, he's the only one who's like, hey, don't you think it's weird, guys, how she's, like, embarrassing us on, like, public television, and she's supposed to be, like, the mature bachelorette? And he's like, I'm gonna say something. And we don't get to see it yet, but we know that this
will.
upcoming episode, he does say something, and
It uproar
it
happened.
hits the fan.
But anyway, so the cocktail party started. That's kind of like he was like gonna say something.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the guys is like, okay, I'm gonna learn from my mistake. I'm gonna like, after she toasts, I'm gonna like try to pull her aside. And she was like, thank you for doing that, but I'm actually gonna steal Blake for a second. So I'm like, Claire, this is why people are not pulling you away. Because if they're trying to pull you away, you're like, no. And then if they don't try, you're getting mad. So like, what are they supposed to do? It is a lose-lose situation. Then I feel like the only other notable thing is her like one-on-one time with Dale. She blindfolds him with the same blindfold they did during that physical touch love language thing. And then starts like making out with him. It was really uncomfortable to watch. That's kind of where it ends, right? It's like they always
That's pretty much it, yeah.
They ended on like a happy note with Dale, but then you like see the preview for next week and it looks like
It's gonna get crazy.
some stuff hits the fan.
Usually we would probably like say, like, who do we think is gonna win? But I feel like we can't even do that.
You kind of know.
It's gonna be Dale.
That's it for, I guess, our second season of the Bachelor/Bachelorette recaps. Do you accept this?
Do you accept this, Rose?
Name the show.
Hopefully next time we'll have some microphones and some better lighting.
But you know what?
We're
Here we are.
making do. This is our La Quinta Inn resort.
vitamin water break. Sponsored by Vitamin Water.